right. Well, good afternoon. My name is Dirk Ahlborn, and I'm the CEO of Hyperloop Transportation Technologies. And yeah, we're building the Hyperloop. So traveling at the speed of sound sounds amazing, doesn't it? Well, let me ask you, who here actually knows what the Hyperloop really is? I'm going to question you guys later. Well, we have prepared a little video here which shows how it all happened, where it came from, where we are, and where we're going. So enjoy.
America's always been a nation of doers. We build things. We take risks. And we believe that if you have a good idea and are willing to work hard enough, you can turn that idea into a successful business.
Billionaire philanthropist Elon Musk has hinted at a new high-speed transport system that could put planes and trains out of business.
I have a name for it, which is called the Hyperloop.
So what's Hyperloop? Mr. Musk's plan: move people using a massive vacuum tube combined with a magnetic levitation system. Kind of like a Jetsons tunnel?
It's something like that, yeah.
Here's how he teased the idea in May at an All Things D conference.
It's a cross between a Concorde and a railgun.
It's called the Hyperloop. It's a system of giant suspended tubes. Riding within are capsules carrying people or freight travelling on cushions of air at speeds of up to 1,200 k's per hour, or roughly 1 kilometre every 3 seconds.
A tube that would be on pillars from Los Angeles to San Francisco, and inside there would be capsule cars that would be rocketed forward up to 700 miles an hour, and that there would be a fan on the front. Elon Musk basically says that this is the way of the future.
How would you like something that can never crash? It is immune to weather. It goes 3 or 4 times faster than the sort of bullet train, and it would cost you much less than an air ticket.
It will only cost to build this $6 or $7 billion. Compare that to the $65 billion for the current high-speed rail plans for California. He believes this is a viable, valuable alternative for mass transit between these two destinations.
Could something like the Hyperloop actually be the answer to super-fast, environmentally friendly, high-speed travel between our busiest cities? So the gauntlet has been thrown down. A design document for a whole new, super-cool way to travel. The only thing now, will someone pick it up and make the Hyperloop a reality?
There are some companies that are forming to try to make the Hyperloop happen, and I encourage them. I think that's great. I'm super focused on Tesla and SpaceX, and to a small amount on Solar City. So that basically completely uses up my brain.
Tesla founder Elon Musk proposed this new technology called Hyperloop, and it's being developed right now in Playa Vista, here in this hangar behind me.
The only resistance would be the air in front of the capsule, which we move to the back by using a compressor.
Company Hyperloop has teamed up with the students to create this tube technology that's designed to connect cities up to 400 miles apart.
Dirk Ahlborn says it's safer and more efficient than the railroad.
Well, the system is completely computerized. So you optimize the system, and then you actually have the humans to monitor it. In railroads, most accidents were all human factors. Plus, a lot of the derailments are actually happened because something's on the track. So we're in a closed system. We're completely managed by a computer system. There's no human factor that can actually create those issues. We actually plan on seeing the first Hyperloop very, very soon starting.
Can you imagine and walk us through what it might be like to travel at the speed of sound?
It's not going to be much different than sitting in an airplane, actually. Obviously, for us, it's very important to make it as good of an experience as possible. So this is an independent organization that has formed. We have 170 engineers, scientists, and really great professionals with amazing backgrounds.
The race is on. Elon Musk's vision for a high-speed passenger pods known as the Hyperloop is one step closer to becoming reality this morning. One of the known companies competing to capitalize on Musk's proposal, announcing today it has struck a deal with landowners in Central California to build the first full-scale Hyperloop along a 5-mile stretch along I-5, with construction set to begin in 2016.
Let's bring in Dirk Ahlborn, who is the man who runs the Hyperloop Transportation Technologies team, which is announcing this deal with Quay Valley, California. Dirk, tell me about this deal and really when you expect this Hyperloop, this 5-mile stretch, to be finished.
Quay Valley is supposed to be breaking ground beginning of 2016. That's when we will start working on our development. So we will be starting ground at the same time. At this moment, we expect to be done by 2018.
Hyperloop now appears one step closer to reality. Starting next year, that theory will turn into a groundbreaking in Quay Valley, Kings County off of I-5. A developer there has just committed a big chunk of his private land toward the project. It's a 5-mile loop that would take visitors through a planned entertainment district.
There's going to be a test track. Elon Musk has announced that he's going to build a small-scale test track. It's a necessary step for us to be building a full-scale version, and Quay Valley is a sustainable model town of the 21st century, so it's a perfect fit. They're expecting over 10 million visitors per year, so we will actually be able to generate revenues very, very fast.
The company plans to go public later this year.
We want to do a public offering. We want to give our community that's supporting us the possibility to own parts of the company. We want to make sure that the people that have been helping building the company and this technology are able to participate in the investment, in the fundraising, and the upside of the company.
With their contributions to Hyperloop, these students from around the world now have stock options in the company. But they say they're not in it for the money.
As a student, I start to feel like I'm in part of some great career that might change the world.
Will the Hyperloop kill the railroad?
The Hyperloop is going to do to the US what the railroads did in the 1800s. So it will change the way we live. It's possible today, it's based on existing technologies, and it's the right time, it's the right moment to finally get something doing like this.
Is it visionary? In 30 years' time, will you and I be sitting on our rocking chairs going, well, we talked about it then, and he did it?
Do you think this is possible? This is not just...
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
For all those who said this is just a neat little thing to draw on a cocktail napkin, these guys are saying it will become reality.
All right, so those were 2.5 years basically put together in 4 to 5 minutes. There's a small piece missing here. We actually filed last week for the construction permits, so we're moving forward much, much faster than thought. So just to explain it again, what is a Hyperloop? So imagine a capsule full with people hovering inside a tube and moving really, really fast between point A and point B. Inside this tube, we create a low-pressure environment. So we take all the air out. So that the capsule, similar to an airplane that goes in high altitudes, can travel very fast with very little energy. This is probably the most important part. It's completely green. So we use solar, wind, kinetic energy through regenerative braking, and in some climates, even geothermal. Why is this the most important part? Well, there's no railway company in the world right now that's profitable. Public transportation is bad, right? I mean, the Swiss public transportation is probably one of the best in the world. So, but in general, they just don't work. Why? Because they're liability. It's not only about doing the investment into the infrastructure, it's about maintaining them. They rely heavily on public financing. To give you an example, the metro in Los Angeles, per passenger, they're making 76 cents. And taxpayers are paying $2.50 per each passenger that rides the metro. So because we are producing more energy than we're using, our operational costs are very, very low. And on something like Los Angeles to San Francisco, we would be profitable within 8 years. Something never seen before, with a $30 ticket price. The system is completely on pylons, which has the advantage that land acquisition costs are cheaper. You don't have to buy all the land, you just buy parts of it. you're not cutting through the land like a normal train or a highway does. So if you're the landowner, normally they tell you, well, just switch with your neighbor. If you're lucky, you get along with your neighbor, but most of the time, people don't. So they don't really care how you get on the other side. In our case, you can still just go underneath. It also has the advantage that we can insert the latest technology for earthquake protection, something in California actually very important. Capacity is always a question. So actually with one tube, we can cover 5 times the air travel between LA and San Francisco. And again, we're a business, we are making money. So running out of capacity, we just add more tubes and we make more money. That's actually a really great case. So why should we do this? This is why. I guess all of us know this, right? Traffic. Based on where we live, we decide where we work. Based on where we live, we decide who we date, right? Because if she lives an hour away, it's probably not going to work out. This is another reason. This is a picture of Beijing. I actually just came back from there. There's 50 million people. And on a good day, you can see your hand in front of your face. So people all around the world, and not only in China, are dying early because of pollution. On average, it's around a year of our lifetime. So we need to move over to green alternative energy solutions. How are we doing this? This is actually the part that I'm personally most passionate about, because we do more than just revolutionize transportation. I'm sure you all know these companies. They all have something in common. They're all failures. Well, BlackBerry might still have a chance, but then there are these companies. They all have something in common as well. All of these companies at one point in their history were in big trouble and switched over to something called crowdsourcing. So some of these companies now actually have more than 50% of their innovation coming from the outside. Okay. Lego, as an example, was almost bankrupt. Switched the CEO, incorporated crowdsourcing, and today is one of the most successful toy companies out there. So we do something that we call crowdstorming. And crowdstorming really is asking the general public, asking your customers, your users, questions, right? And we ask questions like, do we need a ticket? And not only do we need a paper ticket, but if I find a way to make more money the more the passenger rides, then the ticket is actually negative. Then I would use the ticket only to regulate demand. I believe the ticket is 1,800, right? Just like video game companies, when I was a kid, I had to pay for my video games a lot of money. Today, most of them are free, but the companies are making more money than ever. Or Google and Facebook that are giving huge infrastructures for free, but are very profitable companies. Or things like, what are we going to do with the pylons? So if I look at our cost, our construction costs, the pylons are actually a big part of it. Normally, people think, oh, you need the pylons, you have to put the tube onto something. But what if I tell you, I give you 200 pylons, they're yours. What are you going to do with it? And it's just asking that question that actually makes come ideas out. And some of these ideas are crazy, some of them are genius. So we have ideas from using them as beehives to doing vertical gardens to, believe it or not, being able to produce water out of air with the same components that we're already using. So this is probably one of the most important parts when we talk about moving your business. There's a lot of people that are very passionate about what you're doing, and you can just go out and ask them. This is a map. Most people thought this is a map of the routes, the proposed routes of a Hyperloop. And some of these routes, yeah, they make complete sense, but a lot of them don't. Just because we have Albuquerque on there, which is close to Phoenix and Las Vegas, we were 3 times on TV in Albuquerque. And people were discussing, what would a Hyperloop do to Albuquerque? Why would they choose Albuquerque? And we were there, listening to the discussions, taking our notes, seeing if our assumptions were correct. So another kind of crowdstorming, if you want so. Now, when the Hyperloop project was presented back in 2013, I was part of a non-profit incubator that was funded by NASA. And we were working on a new way of creating companies by basically using the internet, right? So using all the people, combining the people that are passionate about the same thing to help you. So when Elon Musk came out and said he didn't have the time to work on this, we reached out, got it onto our platform, and the community was overwhelming. Not only did they say we should work on it, they said they wanted to be part of it. So we incorporated the company, created a small team, and then said, everybody who would like to join us and work in exchange for stock options, please apply. We had more than 200 applications, got a team together of around 100 engineers, and started working on the feasibility study. Today, our company is more than 500 people strong. We have some of the largest companies in the world that are part of what we're doing. We're building a movement, not a company. And I think every company should be a movement. Now, we finished our feasibility study back in 2014, in December, and since then, there's actually more than one company out there. There's a lot of different efforts that are coming out trying to do the Hyperloop. Why am I telling you this? Well, first of all, I want you to join the right one, right? But it's also very interesting to see how the different models work out. Because it's not about the money. It's about the passion that makes a difference. So, as I said earlier, we're crowdstorming with a community of around 20,000 people by now. We have more than almost 500 people that are part of our team. And these are not 4 guys in a chat room. This is a professor of psychology at Stanford University. People that have brought the rover to Mars. Specialists in their field. Everybody is working with a minimum of 10 hours per week on this project in exchange of a part of the company. We have Oerlikon Leibold in Switzerland. They're actually part of our team. They're the guys that did the CERN Hadron Collider, inventors of the vacuum pump. AECOM, the largest construction engineering firm in the world. Many, many other technology firms. So in total, we had more than $18 million worth of man-hours that have gone into this project. We had 5 new applications on average a day. On some days, many, many more. Last week, as I said, we filed the construction permit, so right now we're getting actually probably more, around 15. So we're not missing out on potential help. Even investors came and wanted to invest into the company. More than 600 accredited investors. We got land coming out of the community worth more than $12 million. As I said, we're working with some of the largest companies as sponsors and part of our team. So what this really shows is that you don't necessarily need a huge amount of money to make big things. Okay, what you need is you have to ask, you have to collaborate. So we're always asking people to join us, help us. If they have an idea, please come up to me. So this is all great. When are we actually going to see this? Well, as I said earlier, we're now starting construction in Quay Valley. Quay Valley is between Los Angeles and San Francisco, right next to the freeway. So next time you drive from Los Angeles up to San Francisco, look over to your right, because you're going to see us building the first Hyperloop there. Well, why Quay Valley? Well, first of all, it's 3 hours from where I live, so I don't have to take a plane. But it's also the model town of the 21st century. It's a walkable, completely solar-powered city. But it also has an entertainment district. So a theme park, 3 resorts, and a big shopping component. So we're actually going to be able to move 10 million people a year. So even so, right now, we're building in Quay Valley in America. We know that seeing the first full-length Hyperloop in America or in Europe is going to take a while. Right now, we are in discussions with 20 city peers all around the world. And our focus is in Asia, India, Indonesia, Africa, the Middle East. Why? Well, you have seen the pictures of Beijing. Those countries have issues, they have problems, they need solutions right now. But we're not only working on moving a capsule inside a tube. We're looking at how's the passenger feeling inside, different monetization strategy, digitalization of transportation. So it's a much, much broader field than just a Hyperloop. So I'll invite you all to join if you believe that there's anything that you can bring to the company. And thank you for your attention.